Joining us now is Robert Charles, former Assistant Secretary of State to Colin Powell. Robert, welcome back to the program. It's good, a very poignant moment, I think. There was a meeting this morning, a joint press conference this morning, between President Trump and Mahmoud Abbas, who leads the Palestinian Authority. Mahmoud Abbas is paying the relatives of dead jihadis as a reward for their terror. And now the President of the United States confronts that. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think that the Manchester event, quite frankly, puts a lot of this in perspective. I think it punctuates the President's message on this trip, which is that evil and the battle of good and evil cross-cut religious lines, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, it really doesn't matter. I think that that event also puts in stark contrast the evil that we're confronting in Islamic terrorism. When you're killing children, that's pretty graphic. And I'm reminded, frankly, of just this morning of Winston Churchill and his statement that victory is never final and defeat is never fatal. It is the courage to continue that matters. And I think President Trump has done an extraordinary job on this trip of elevating this to a battle against the evil that we all confront.
Yes, an extraordinary trip, that's for sure. Now, I have to ask this question because I think this is on the minds of throughout the Western world. At what point does public opinion, public policy change in the face of this kind of attack that we saw yesterday in Manchester? At what point does a democracy defend itself by preemptive attack?
You know, you always have to abide civil rights, and that's a straightforward starting point. But I think that we do have to be much more vigilant. And I think the President is telegraphing very clearly that we are in one fight. We are together in this fight. And by using the word evil, which incidentally, you know, it was an inflection point when Ronald Reagan used the word evil in describing the evil empire in the communist Soviet Union, and it changed everybody's thinking. It made them think anew about what we had in common, how to make common cause. And frankly, I believe that whether you're talking Great Britain, the United States, or anywhere in the Middle East, there is now, he sort of laid it bare. He said very clearly in the last several days, this is really a common battle against evil, which delegitimizes, even within those terrorist institutions, it delegitimizes whatever the, you know, the internal thinking is. And that's exactly what Reagan did. He delegitimized the Soviet Union internally. Very powerful inflection point, I think.
Now, moments ago, the Director of National Intelligence had a pretty grim assessment of the terror threat. Robert, listen to this, please.
I just returned from London a couple of days ago and met with all of my intelligence community colleagues there. We spent a significant amount of time discussing threats to our respective homelands, and it's a tragic situation that we see all too much of happening in countries around the world, in particular our allies. So it once again reminds us that this threat is real, it is not going away, and needs significant attention.
Robert, your comment on that, please.
Well, I think it's a straightforward statement of fact. We have a common fight against the evil that is currently taking the form of terrorism, and nothing is particularly different from where it was yesterday. But I also would note, and it's a little off topic, that what the President's doing, if you carefully distill his messaging on this trip, is he's really laying out what amounts to a Trump doctrine. It's a relentless engagement on this issue as a primary issue, but on other issues, you can see the pillars now sort of emerging of a coherent strategy, one that probably has 3 or 4 pillars. Among those, the use of kinetic force when necessary, the interchange between and the exchange of economic benefit for security advantage, a little bit of chess in all this. I mean, I credit Mattis and McMaster and others because he's really doing some creditable things.
Okay, we hear it. Robert Charles, thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Now.